What if I told you that the salt on your fries and the battery in your phone have something in common? It all comes down to one thing: ionic bonding. Ionic bonding is a type of bonding that involves the transfer of electrons from one atom to another. This type of bonding occurs between metals and nonmetals. During the chemical bonding, metals lose electrons and become positively charged. Nonmetals gain electrons and become negatively charged. The bond formed is called ionic bond. Let's see how ionic bonding occurs to form compounds. The formation of sodium chloride. Sodium chloride is formed by the bonding of sodium atom and chlorine atom. Sodium has 11 electrons with 1 electron in the outer shell. To be stable, it has to lose 1 electron. Chlorine has 17 electrons with 7 electrons in the outer shell. To be stable, it has to gain 1 electron. During the chemical bonding, sodium transfers 1 electron to chlorine. As a result, sodium remains with 8 stable electrons in the outer shell. Because it loses electrons, it becomes positively charged. Chlorine gains 1 electron to have 8 stable electrons in the outer shell. Because it gains an electron, it becomes negatively charged. The opposite charges attract each other, forming a sodium chloride crystal, the common table salt we use every day to flavor our foods. By the way, did you know that pure sodium is so reactive it can explode in water? But when bonded with chlorine to form table salt, it becomes completely safe to eat. Chemistry is wild like that. Another example: the formation of magnesium chloride. Magnesium chloride is formed by the bonding of 1 magnesium atom and 2 chlorine atoms. Magnesium has 12 electrons, with 2 electrons in the outer shell. To be stable, it has to lose 2 electrons. Chlorine atoms, on the other hand, has to gain 1 electron to be stable. During the chemical bonding, magnesium atom transfers 2 electrons to chlorine atoms, 1 to each atom. As a result, magnesium remains with 8 stable electrons in the outer shell. Because it loses 2 electrons, it becomes positively charged. 2 chlorine atoms gain electrons, each atom gaining 1 electron. Because chlorine atoms gain electrons, they become negatively charged. The opposite charges attract each other, forming a magnesium chloride crystal. Compounds formed by ionic bonding are called ionic compounds. What are the properties of ionic compounds? Ionic compounds form a hard crystalline solid. This is because the positively and negatively charged ions in these compounds attract each other and pack themselves closely in an alternating way, forming a three-dimensional regular crystal. Ionic compounds have high melting and boiling point. This is because the force of attraction between the positively and negatively charged ions is strong. Therefore, a large amount of heat is required to separate them. Ionic compounds conduct electricity in liquid form. This is because, in liquid state, these compounds have free ions that are able to conduct electricity. In solid state, ions are fixed. Therefore, solid ionic compounds do not conduct electricity. Ionic compounds are soluble in water. Water is able to dissolve polar compounds. As ionic compounds are polar compounds, they are dissolved by water. However, not all ionic compounds are soluble in water. Some ionic compounds, such as copper-2 oxide, are insoluble in water. To recap, ionic bonding is a type of bonding that involves the transfer of electrons. The bonding occurs between metals and nonmetal. The compound formed by ionic bonding are called ionic compounds. Ionic compounds form a hard crystalline solid. They have high melting and boiling point. They conduct electricity in liquid form, and they are soluble in water. Ionic bonding might explain the salt in your kitchen, but what about the air you breathe? In the next video, we'll explore covalent bonding, where atoms don't fight for electrons but share them instead. Stay tuned, stay curious.